from Rotten Reviews. I'm going to be doing something just a little bit different this year. I don't have it in me to do a 5th straight advent calendar of a full 25 days of Christmas horror movies. I just can't. I can't. I want to enjoy the holidays. But I will continue on with the same thematic elements where all during this month leading up to Christmas, any movie review I do will be a holiday horror movie. So I don't know about you, but I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of Yuletide terrors await us in 2022. What's our first one again?
Amityville Christmas Vacation.
Today we're going to be watching and reviewing Amityville Christmas Vacation. Well, it was bound to happen, and here we are. Written and directed by Steve Rudzinski and also written by Bill Murphy, this is a blissfully short 47-minute long feature that I found on Tubi TV, and it was available for anybody that has access to that in America for free with ads. So, yeah, there's that. And the one-sentence summary of this film is a man wins a contest he didn't realize he even entered and travels across the country to go spend Christmas at the house across the street from the Amityville house with the intention of the homeowner of having him be murdered at the hands of the ghost that resides within. All right, so I'm going to kind of draw on what I've learned since I started doing this channel, and especially since I started doing the advent calendar of every day in December leading up to the 25th, a Christmas horror movie. One of the things that I've learned is that Christmas horror movies, by and large, are terrible. So there are some good ones out there, but for the most part, we kind of wind up in a place of just diminishing returns and eking out the worst of the worst for the sake of putting Jingle Bells and Santa Claus into the mix and hoping that the juxtaposition of jolly and horror kind of works well together. Most times, it doesn't. But sometimes, it does. And sometimes, it's not even because of a big production value like Krampus, which I love and I do recommend. But sometimes, this job really does become worth it. And all the bad movies that I've seen and had to suffer through become 100% worth it when I find those hidden gems. And I can't think of a better example of that than A 𝗘𝗾𝘂𝗶𝗽𝗺𝗀 Christmas, which was just this wonderful little low-budget indie Christmas horror movie that was schlocky and bad, but at the same time tongue-in-cheek, had a wonderful wit about it, and the joy of the Christmas season imbued throughout. And it wound up being something that I genuinely loved and has become an annual watch for me ever since I saw it. So, why do I bring up A 𝗘𝗾𝗂𝗶 Christmas? Because I got to admit that in the first 5 minutes of watching Amityville Christmas Vacation, I was kind of wondering if I had stumbled across yet another hidden gem, another potential 𝗘𝗾𝗂 Christmas. And then we got beyond the first 5 minutes. Look, this movie started out with a character that was just absolutely daft, tongue-in-cheek, everything over the top, with a level of comedy that was, innocently stupid.
Wow. This place looks really evil. Good thing I'm staying in that house.
He was basically monologuing the entirety of the premise of the film to another character. And ordinarily, I'm not big on two-character dialogue just explaining to themselves what's going on for the sake of explaining to the audience. However, the fact is that the other character was his cat that was giving him an "are you an idiot" look the entire time he was talking to it. Which, you know what? I'm on board for. If we can start every movie with the character just kind of going through unreasonable levels of exposition talking to their cat, I'm okay with that. Unfortunately, the cat was only there for a limited time before he made his trek over to Amityville. And the tongue-in-cheek nature of the daft stupidity of the character and the situations and everything going on continued on. And it's not that they became awful. I mean, they started out awful. It was more that they just kind of overstayed their welcome.
Good job, Wally. Another expertise example of being a detective. Figured it out all by yourself.
However, There's a lot of howevers involved here. This movie goes back and forth with the quality and howevers a lot more than I ever expected it to. I was honestly expecting something across the board terrible. And much to my surprise, more than anybody else, it just wasn't. It was bad. Make no mistake, this is a bad movie, and I'm not going to recommend it. But it wasn't terrible. The bar for Amityville has been set so f***ing low that anything approaching bad winds up being a surprise gem to me. And that's exactly what happened with Amityville Christmas Vacation. Nothing about it was redeemable, but at the same time, it kept its plot. It moved forward all the way from opening credits to end credits, as opposed to Amityville Karen and Amityville Thanksgiving, which just kind of seemed to meander and then give up halfway through for the sake of entering into third-party Zoom session interviews until closing credits, as if it just kind of lost its way and then wound up not even caring. Amityville Christmas Vacation, for all of its faults, seems to care about its character, about the story, about the humor. It may not all work, but it cares. It tries. I'm going to give this one a participation ribbon, certainly, and which is a lot more than I could ever possibly give any Sean C. Phillips production. And as far as the runtime goes, I have to kind of give it a little, not even so much of a pass, but almost a level of gratitude. And I'm being serious about that, because considering the fact that the humor level and what was actually working about it in the first 5 minutes did wear thin, the fact that this was only 47 some odd minutes long was a mercy and honestly a good choice for this film. It had overstayed its welcome, and the worst thing it could have done was double that runtime. I've seen so many movies use B-roll, bad dialogue filler, and just nothing of any substance for the sole sake of getting to that hour-and-a-half mark. And I'm glad that this one didn't even try that. It stuck to its guns, it stuck to the script, it stuck to the plot, it kept things moving forward, and even though it really didn't work, it kept it tight. If you watch my review video of Amityville Thanksgiving, I did kind of go off the rails a little bit, wondering why these movies get made, wondering how these movies get made. It's not for a whole lot of profit, I can imagine. It's not for the sake of any creativity or needing to tell a story or relay some sort of emotional anything. I can't think of why these Amity movies continue on, but in the case of this one, I kind of get the point. Steve Rudzinski, going through his IMDb profile and looking at the movies he's directed, it's mostly just kind of benign, stupid fare that involves his cat. A meowy Halloween, a meowy Christmas Vacation, a meowy St. Patrick's Day, I think is one of them. He just seems to like to, take friends, kick on his camera, and put his cat in the frame. And you know what? I'm good with that. I think that's honestly, if I was going to come up with any reason to make this kind of stupid films, just having fun with friends and shoving your cat's face in front of the lens of the camera, that's reason enough. I have no complaints about that. So in this case, he decided to do the same thing with Amityville attached to it. And I gotta say, I didn't have a great time, but I didn't have a terrible time. Again, this is a movie that winds up pretty firmly in bad territory. And I was kind of hoping, like I said in the first 5 minutes, that maybe I had stumbled across a stupid hidden gem. And that just isn't the case here. But this is so much better than I feared. And it's so much better than I have been kind of just beaten down with as far as these last few Amityville movies go. So again, I can't recommend it. I just can't. There's a certain point in which I have to kind of come to the realization that there's a difference between a good meal and being given a slice of bread after 2 weeks of starvation. I can't say that it was a good movie, but it was better than it had any right to be. It was better than I expected, and it was one of the best Amityville movies I've seen in recent years. So take that for what you will. That's as far as I can come for a recommendation, which is worlds farther than I ever expected when I first saw the title of Amityville Christmas Vacation. So thank you for joining me here today. I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please click like and subscribe and click that notification bell when you want to find out when I release a new video next. And remember, next time you want to watch a Christmas horror movie, first make sure that it's good and rotted.